Thank you, Monica. So what we want to be clear here is that we've got something specific to work with. So I'm going to invite you to just be aware of what you discussed in the breakout. And so this is something that might feel uncomfortable. I can't cope with change. I feel vulnerable. I don't know what's going to happen. There's lots of uncertainty. So just tuning in to what your specific assumption or story is. So that's what we're going to start with. And we're going to start to connect that story, which might be feeling tender and vulnerable, and we're going to connect it with a more empowered part of us. Does that sound okay, everyone, for us to explore that? Okay, great. So what I'm going to invite you to do now is just take a moment to take a deep breath. You might just put your pens and papers aside a moment. And then I'm just going to invite you, if it feels okay, to close your eyes. And just as you're closing your eyes and tuning in, just starting to be aware that if you look at your experience that you've been speaking about, you'll see that there's two parts of you. There's a self in your mind who has access to wisdom and resources and life experience. And there's a self in your body who has their own experience of life. So when we're feeling maybe stuck, not sure, fearful, uncertain, it's really helpful to develop a fluid relationship between the self that is resourceful, that is wise and mature, and that the self that's stuck in the old story, where you're struggling to manifest or create. So the self in the body has its own consciousness. It may be totally irrational. It might not have any evidence to support it. And you can't talk it out of how that part of you feels. And most of us have been in a conflicting relationship with ourselves, or we've become disconnected. So what we want to start to do now is notice, what is this relationship between these two parts of you? The self in your mind and the self in your body. So we're going to start now by connecting with the emotional self in the body, the part that is stuck in this old story. So I want you to step back into connecting with that feeling now, and just see if you can really breathe into your body, into your heart, into your belly. And just notice what's coming up when you become aware of the assumption or the story. Maybe it's, I'm not good enough, I'm alone, I can't cope, I don't know. I just want you to start to notice where the center of the feeling is in your body. I'm really inviting you to take a few deep breaths. If you need to yawn, that's wonderful, please do that. And if you can place a hand on your body where you might be noticing the feeling is, I would invite you to just gently place a hand where this stuckness is, this feeling of vulnerability, whatever name it has. And just placing a hand, if you can, if you notice where that is on your body. And now we're going to take a moment to connect with the part of you that is loving, resourceful, that shows up for others. the one that can be a great team player, that can be a great parent, great partner, the part of you that can hold perspective. And I'm going to invite you to breathe deeply all the way down into your hips, into your legs. Deeper and wider as we start to embody this part of us. And just allowing yourself to imagine you're expanding your awareness out towards the edges of the room. And just noticing if we can go deeper and wider with this loving, resourceful, wise self. And now we're going to start to bring these two parts into connection with each other. So from this connected place to your wise, loving, resourceful self, a place where you feel powerful, I want you to imagine turning towards the self in your body, the part of you that feels stuck in that old story. Imagine the wise, loving, resourceful self embracing with presence and love the part of you that is stuck in the old story. So imagine the wise, loving self embracing with presence and love the part that is stuck in the old story. Notice what happens in your body. How do you feel? What do you sense when you connect these two parts of yourself? Just starting to notice what you can sense in your body, if there's anything there emotionally, any sensation. And then just as we get ready to close this part now, I just want you to notice about the self in the body and the self in the mind. Did you notice that there's two kinds of different awarenesses there, or an awareness of a loving, resourceful self, and also an awareness of a part of you that feels stuck? And just notice now as we get ready to finish this, if there's any insights you start to become aware of by allowing these two parts to be connecting to one another without any judgment, without any criticism, bringing all the care and love and attention that you would to the child, to a loved one. To this part in you. And just taking another deep breath. Just notice if you want to make a few notes as you come out of this process about anything you noticed with the self in the body and the wise, loving, resourceful self. And remember, there's no right or wrong, there's just experience and insight.